Finishing with his last couple examples right here, you'll see that this example right here, we're going to try to solve this for x, which is again at the bottom of the fraction. So it seems like the previous example, we might want to multiply both sides by x to undo that division by x, but not quite yet, because you're going to see that there's this other term g on the same side that we'll want to undo. So if we go ahead and subtract g, we know that g minus g is just going to equal 0, so it'll cancel out and just give you negative h over x on that side. And then, of course, we're going to have to get the subtraction of g to the other side, so f minus g will be on that left side. So now what we can go ahead and do is, I guess we can go ahead and multiply by x, because then we know that x divided by x will just equal 1, so you're going to get just negative h on that side, and then the quantity of s minus g, so putting that in parentheses, will be multiplied by the x. And then finally, now we can get that x alone because we just need to undo the multiplication by that quantity of f minus g. So if we divide that side by f minus g, that gets the x alone on that side, and then that quantity gets divided by the f minus g. So we do get negative h divided by f minus g is going to equal x. Also note that if you didn't want the negative with the h right there, that it does turn out that h divided by g minus f will give you the same answer, and you can try to reason through, properties of numbers and such to see why that might be. All right, and then the very last example right here, we're solving for x. X is at the top of the fraction right there. So if we're going to solve for the x, and it's being divided by that 1 minus 2z right there, you're going to want to undo that by actually multiplying by that quantity of 1 minus 2z, because then that's just going to multiply and just equal 1, cancels things out. But then in parentheses, this quantity of 1 minus 2z has to multiply to the other side with the 5. So if you wanted to distribute that, I guess you could, and you could do 5 minus 10z. And then that's going to be equal to just the 3x minus z now. So now if we want to solve for that x, we can do that in a couple steps. First of all, just by adding z, because that's just going to equal 0, and then adding z to that side. Those are going to be like terms. You're going to end up then getting that 5 minus 9z is going to be equal to 3 times x. And then finally, you can divide both sides by 3. Or another way you can think about that, of course, is to multiply both sides by 1/3, and then just distribute that 1/3 to both sides right there. You do end up getting that 5/3 minus 9/3, but that actually is just negative 3. Z there is just going to be equal to x.